Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy L to the B. Yes, I am much more closer to the camera. I don't know what it is, but something in the video functions, they kind of screw up and it will not allow this to technically really zoom in, which that's okay. It's just a problem between the software. But yeah, anyways, I slept really great last night. Kind of went to bed a little bit more earlier than I usually do as a late night owl, so I can't hate on that. Woke up still feeling pretty pain free good. And when I say it like that, it's because I usually have had more pains than what I'm accustomed to having right now. And so like I will have some back pains, lower back, upper back. They're just like washed away. So I think honestly, I've been sampling this for a while now. I've just focused right now primarily on this D3K2, primarily K2. So I might put like a double dose of K2 on top of this D3. And here's something else. My kidney function has been working pretty well. As far as like electrolytes, I've been consuming those. But I'm thinking about trying to back off a little bit on my electrolytes just for a while, just to see how well is the functionality of this K2. Well, why I keep jumping on all this? Because it is the one thing that allows, it's got a protein synthesis or some kind of hormonal. Don't quote me on all this, but it allows for the calcium to get routed into the bone. So it is the calcium distributor. Now, why is that important? Because when you start to understand how your body has been operating all these years, you'll quickly figure out that calcium is like a core problem, feature, benefit, drawback. It's in all these categories. It's good and bad. And it's problematic when the body doesn't know really what to do with it. So it could have an excess amount, could have a little bit of amount. It just doesn't know how to properly allocate it. So that's why I jump all over this whole K2 thing. So one of the things I found out is that, I'm concerned mostly about oxalates. Back in the day when I was doing this carnivore thing, and I say back in the day, it was like a year ago, but it did help my body. I'm be honest with you. So when I was doing the carnivore diet, the thing that kept popping up a lot of times was this oxalate dumping. And I believe I went through something like that, but I believe most of my issues and problems were stemming from oxalate issues. I was consuming before carnivore a very plant-based diet where a lot of the things I was consuming, whether it was spinach, lots of cinnamon. And if anybody knows that if you using these ingredients, these food types on a repeated basis, on a normal daily basis, you are constantly building up these oxalate levels. And you know that you can't, if you ever read the literature, you can't just cold turkey stop either. Because when you do that, your body goes into an immediate extreme dump process. That's why they call it oxalate dumping. And when it starts to purge all of that, it gets into all these different tissues, causing all kinds of haywire. It feels like glass. I know I was feeling like I was peeing glass. But beyond that, I had other problems inside of my body. Just feeling like there was glass issues. So let's just be honest. Like nobody wants to feel like there's these little crystals, achy, making you feel these little sharp pains throughout your body. I've been through it. I already know what these experiences are, and for a lengthy amount of time, to where sometimes I have post-traumatic stress disorder about it. I have PTSD thinking about, or just constantly worrying about, is it coming back? Is my body healed? Is it healing? How healed is it? I go through all those little question marks, and I take it day after day. This is one reason why I try to make grateful videos every single day. It's not just because it's a consistent thing and it's going to help shape my behavior for consistent behavior. It's more that it allows me to put the perspective back onto me that today's a good day. Today's a good day. Wow. How many good days have I had now in opposed to all those bad ones I used to go through? So I'm very thankful about that. Flip note, the lady gave me a text this morning, said she wanted to get up. She said she's on the mends, so she got hit by a bicyclist, and I don't know how that even happens. I mean, it's like, I guess somebody could hit you, but like to hit you to the point where you feel like you got hit by like a car, But she's small. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, my lady is like a little petite thing. You know, she would be Olive if there was a Popeye on something. But she's like so small and fragile and frail. But so she's on the mend. She's feeling better. There's no more. She said she had some nausea, but that's gone. And I think her physical pain problems are getting better. So that's great. And she's like, we need to get together for Bloody Marys. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm down for it. But here's the thing. Like, everybody always seems to want to invite me or include me in drinking events. And I'm trying to get, I mean, I don't mind doing it from time to time. Don't get me wrong. Like, drink is fun. And maybe that's her way of trying to set up something for us to meet. Because I feel like now that she's kind of missed these windows of opportunity to spend time with me, the heart grows fonder, right? So I think that's kind of where it's going. But the heart doesn't always grow fonder. In my case, sometimes the heart just says bye-bye. So if I'm not able to keep intensity, or I don't keep an obligation to my connection with somebody, I will quickly just move on. I'm not actually seeking it this time, so it's a little bit of a I just continue to do the things I want to do and make me happy in my life. And if this seems to correlate or coordinate with her, great. That's basically what I've got going on. But she wants to get together and drink, and I'm just thinking, like, I don't want to have a situation where the only time that we have a time and something that is involved in our time is with drinking. I don't think that's where I want to head with something in a relationship going forward. I have a lot of things I like to talk with about people, talk with people about, and it's just like, there's all these different topics, subject matters. Heck, I watched the videos and stuff, and if you didn't get a chance to look at the one I just posted, it was like, it went on to like, you have to be 18 or older. There was a lot of intense stuff. Yeah, it definitely needed to be 18 or older. But it was insane to watch how these people, how we are engaging with one another. I would never believe it if I didn't see it. Like, I would just say, what happened? What happened? That sounded like the craziest damn dream ever. Like, people kept fighting. And these are older folks? This is what I mean. We don't get older. I don't know why with this, we get older. Excuse me. Let me back that up. We may age. But as far as maturity-wise goes, we are always still kids. And if we're not careful, we catch that one little moment where sanity slips, or our little monitored, managed, control morals and virtues slip, then real quick we turn back into our animalistic nature. And we quickly find out we don't have so much control. Not as much as we think we did. And that's okay. Honestly, whenever there's a big brawl, bash, as long as people don't get killed, and if they're hurt, well, you got hurt, but could you recover? Let's hope you can recover. I want you to recover back full, because those are learning experiences. Remember, guys and gals, we are not here that long. Quit thinking that this thing is eternal. It is, and you ain't staying in it forever. And you may repeat and come back. And good Lord, man, if you want to do that, I don't know what the... Look, at this point, I'm excited. I'm happy about the journey and experience. But when the time is like selective for us to move, for me to kind of move to a different plane, I definitely want to move up from this one. And I think it's the suffering component that I would love to get away from. I know when we kick the bucket, from all the testimonies that I've ever looked at and viewed in this plane, there is no such thing as the suffering aspect when you go over and cross over. So I'm thinking that when we reincarnate or incarnate into some other kind of plane or galaxy or experience, which is just it's infinitely possible. It's not like, oh, will it be or can it be? It's infinitely possible. So when that kind of experience happens, I would rather get into some kind of continuation energy that is not dealing with suffering on this kind of level, suffering and distortion. However, if it was meant for me to go through this and it was chosen so I could have a spiritual growth process, that I am very grateful that I experienced. I'm just being honest. I am very grateful that I went through this to get to the place to where I'm at right now and to continue to grow. This is not like I'm done growing. It's a long, I don't know how long, I won't get it in a lifetime. That's why with these older people, when I look at people and they're older, you don't understand what I'm thinking. It's people are 70, 80 years old. I'm in my mind questioning, why are you still on the planet? What is it that you haven't fulfilled? I ask the same questions to myself, but I look at them and I think the same thing. What is it you haven't fulfilled? What are you continuing to fulfill? What are you contributing by being present as an energy? Because we all have an effect. So I'm always wondering, what are their productions? What are they producing? So it's a big mouthful of all this stuff of what I've been talking about. Heart grows fonder. I just jumped off from it and started digressing. I keep track of my brain pretty well. And it's insane that it's working as well as it is. Let's be honest. Like when you get older, you're supposed to slowly decline. Your memory declines. And I don't even watch that much material to keep it fresh. I mean, I could. I just posted that video yesterday about me watching some junk stuff. And I'm lit too, so if I get, if I'm stoned or if I've been drinking, my mental capabilities should be even less than that. But it does well. I mean, I'm not going to complain. I think a big portion of this, and I do B1. So also, if you get into this diet thing, you start thinking D3K2, that is going to help. I'm no question. But you can high dose it with K2 to keep dealing with this calcium stuff. I should have mentioned that about that. I digressed way off. Now I'm coming back to it. But B1, make sure you get B1 because that's what's going to get depleted whenever you're drinking alcohol. I think it's like Korsakoff syndrome, something I studied in psychology, but it was something my dad also had whenever he was drinking alcohol, where he kept repeating the same things. He was forgetful, and he fell into this kind of repetitive process. And I told him, I was like, I think you pretty much have this syndrome right here, man. I think if I spent more time and he was open more to, I think he was to some extent, but there would have to be leaps and bounds made. But he could have probably improved his conditions before he passed away. On my side of things, I'm pushing the whole K2 process because, and here's where it comes back to the oxalates. When your body is filled with the oxalates are going all around the body because you've consumed too many vegetables or what have you done, oxalate-containing foods. I don't like to bash on vegetables too much. What ends up happening is that I've asked the question in the ChatGPT and just in general on the regular search, and the thing that happens is that oxalates bind to calcium. So most of your stones that you have as issues like kidney stones that affect the kidneys are calcium or oxalate calcium stones. So think about it. It's the most common type of crystallization that your body is busy trying to process as an excess in the kidneys. So I started wondering, like, well, if K2 is responsible and D3 is involved with, but basically, there's these two components. You have to have the two. They're cofactors. But if the K2 is really helping to distribute this calcium, and it influences how oxalates or calcium is going to behave in the blood, could it potentially offset the problems that happen with oxalates? And that was my question. And I've kind of got another persona that I created on ChatGPT to kind of think outside the box and to use its brain and its comparisons of data to give me an assessment, And so when it evaluated what I said, it said it's potentially a possibility. That definitely could be the case. Now, granted, we're trying to respect ChatGPT, but let me be honest with everybody. When people start criticizing that the information can be wrong with ChatGPT, and then they start saying, or they start questioning whether or not they want to use it like it's a Wikipedia, folks, everything is subject to being a lie. Everything is subject to being incorrect. Would you rather take it from me? Would you rather take it from Joe Blow down the street? I don't care, even if they're experts. A lot of times we're humans. We are subject to human error. The fact that we want to lump ChatGPT into a position or put it in a space where we're presupposing or assuming that it is even more faulty than us in providing information, I would take a step back and really question that narrative or that thought process, because ChatGPT has done some incredible things and is still in the hands of you as the user to fact check and determine whether or not ChatGPT gave you the right information or not. So don't put it on ChatGPT. It's in your hands. But at least ways you can give it information and data and have it cross-analyze so it give you a better idea of what you're dealing with and make some hypothetical approaches. I mean, science should be taking advantage of all this by now. We should already, by the year 2025, this will look like a completely different experience. 2025 and beyond should be completely different. I do not anticipate it being anywhere close to the same. 2025. Wow, that'll be a number 9 count. You understand? I follow the numbers, right? So we would be at a 9 energy, which is my energy. I was like, why is that 2025 kicking off so hard? You guys don't even know. Like my life path number is a number 9. So I typically resonate with all the spiritual transformations and things like that. But it doesn't matter. Most of the things that I deal with in numbers that come across and I'm aware and I go, oh, wait a minute, that's a 9. They usually reflect something meaningful in my life. But guys, if you understand what I've been saying right here, and I'm just jumping around, I know, get back to the K2. It affects calcium. It's going to distribute everything accordingly. And I think it even actually helps push out calcium in the urine stream. So you can start to dump a little bit more calcium than you would have normally. But that's not a bad thing. It's pulling it. You distribute it, and it's also excreting it a lot quicker through the urine system so that you're not building up all those crystals. Oh, what that is. So yeah, check it out. See what you think about it. And if it's improving your life and giving you vitality because all of a sudden you're not getting plaquing. Matter of fact, it's like when I talked about the Four Horsemen, it was one of the main things that it said that K2 is preventative against or can help alleviate or treat. Not really treat. I don't like the word treat. But it definitely seems to be huge benefit there. And I felt like no one's talking about it. I've heard a lot of different things, a lot of cute things, but I don't hear enough about K2, Mk7 especially. I think that's a hidden weapon. Like that might be the one thing you add into the equation and it fixes everything. I have berberine, and I started thinking, well, maybe berberine has been affecting my stomach and making it feel better, and that's why I've experienced all these tremendous benefits. But I've left berberine out for like four days, and I still feel exceptionally well. Like it's still going. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with all that. Might be my lady again talking. Today, I'm wondering what I'm going to take. I don't know if I'll do K2. I'm just kind of like in the middle of trying to figure this whole thing out, what I want to consume today, but I don't know. It's going to be an interesting experience. I think it's going to be fun to sample. I've obviously got my levels up, and there's so many things that can deplete your K2. There's stuff that, like, your food doesn't contain enough K2. I could go all day. Oh yeah, I was talking about the Four Horsemen. So the Four Horsemen, when it brought it up, was like things it addresses, which is osteoporosis. Remember, your bones need calcium. So the better the traffic or the cars that transport this there are K2. It's the K2 is involved, D3. So you've got that one little area that you want to take care of, osteoporosis. And I think I mentioned in past videos, it's not a big surprise that when osteoporosis is present with issues, you have other issues like diabetes or Alzheimer's. So these are the other horsemen I was talking about. So you got osteoporosis issues. You get cancer issues. Calcium, oxalates, these are the things I'm talking about. I think these things are involved in here. I bet you I will lean in to say that your gut goes through problems as well. Imagine if you got something going on with oxalates ending up in that area in your bloodstream. Oh, and then they're shredding some of your stomach lining. I don't know, guys and gals. I'm just giving you speculations, but I do know the Four Horsemen apply here. You've got the cancer. You've now got Alzheimer's. You got problems with dementia. You can't think well. You're like, what the hell is going on? I feel fuzzy brain. My head's foggy. It's because the blood vessels are clogging the fuck up with plaque. And then these protein derivatives or whatever the hell you want to call it, does not matter. It gets down to this calcium issue because calcium's addressing all those things. I say cancer. That's a big one. Four horsemen of death to take out most of us. And then the fourth one, which is diabetes, one of the biggest heavyweights. We talk about it and we lean on it with insulin resistance. We say we're not able to deal well with insulin. Maybe there's so many of these body faculties and functions that don't work well because they're having interference or having some crystallization issues with calcium or oxalates, or these crystallized forming issues. And calcium in general, if you can't get it to the right parts, you're going to have issues. One of them said that it was calcium, you can have calcification issues with your scalp. That's why I might be bald, right? I'm starting to get some hair back if anybody can see that. So it's freaking weird to even say that I'm getting some hair back. I'm growing hair back. That's cool. I don't use any kind of minoxidil. So I'm like, if I can make this work on a natural level, I'm going to crack up and laugh. Because it's like, hey, I get my hair back. And there's other metrics that I'm like, I can really offset a lot of the experiences that I had, and I thought I was doomed for the rest of my life to experience. Just when you live, you learn, you live. I don't know any other way to say it. But calcification can happen and screw up your hair's ability to grow. You also can experience calcification of certain brain areas. So I think, for example, a lot of people talk about the pineal gland. Well, if that gets calcified, and that's one of the things that happens, then you don't experience really vivid or deep sleeping dreams and experiences. There's all these things that are tied in here with this calcification or calcium. So address the modality of calcium. Watermelon. When I was trying to figure out, like, okay, I've been looking at Kali Muscle, and he's on this whole kick about eating a watermelon a day. He's found people that do it. And I started comparing, or started looking at like the information on it. I think it's like citrulline, and I can't remember the other amino acid that's inside a watermelon. But those, and there's high amounts of it, those seem to address plaquing. I would go as so far as to say that they probably start to address issues with calcium. So it's something to investigate. This seems to be a big route to the issues that are plaguing the body. Over calcification, which leads to all of these other descriptive things that we say are overly getting done. And we're just not, maybe the body just does not distribute calcium well. There's a poor allocation system. Anyways, I beat a dead horse for you today. I hope you guys go and investigate and look into some of these supplements. There's a good date, K2, that, well, I don't really know. I'm checking it out and I'll let you know. But so far it's got good reviews and it seems to be working well with me. I wish you guys a wonderful Sunday. This was a lot for me to talk about in one morning. But I'm moving on. Peace and thanks for watching.